They're fresh on their headlining tour, fresh on a new album release. I mean, we're getting these guys at their best right now.
We're fresh.
Zach and Sean from Middle Class Rut. How you guys doing?
Great. How are you doing?
Very good, very good. The first thing that I wanted to ask you, I've had the pleasure of seeing you guys a couple of times, and it had always previously been just the two of you up there making the Middle Class Rut racket. Now, from what I understand, you are touring with 3 more members. You guys are touring as a 5-piece now.
Yep.
Why the shift? Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it was mostly due to the fact that I think anyone who's checked out the newest record anyway, there's a lot more going on it than on the first record. So there's just no way that Sean and I could have replicated that live. And it was kind of, we went the organic route versus, going with a computer or something. So now we're playing with other guys, and now we're able to have the record sound exactly like people hear it,
Now, and here's another question. Where did these fellas come from? Are they friends, or did you, hold tryouts, or how does that work?
A little bit of both.
Yeah, it was kind of a little bit of both.
I mean, I put ads on like Craigslist and around SAC just with no band name, saying, "Hey, paid gig," just to see what was out there, and it's rough, man. It's a rough seeing the kind of people that come around, but ended up, we got some people that were local and some other ones just through our management and stuff. So, it's a good mix.
I would bet you that was, that's a hard thing to decide. Now,
it was weird to walk into that room for the first time.
Yeah.
I mean, we had met a couple of the guys. One we actually knew. The other guy we just had sort of met in passing, and then the other guy we had no idea. So it was really strange to just walk in that room and hope that it's all going to work, and it ended up working. So we just kind of got really lucky, I think.
And that's just what happens. You guys just have to kind of hold your breath and go, whoop, let's hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these guys walked into the room knowing the music, so it was a trip to play them for the first time. Like, oh man, we're already. This is it. This sounds like what we're looking for. So it was exciting.
I would bet you that exciting would be a great word for that once it does kind of click and all come together. As far as when it comes to the new album, and I read a bit about kind of your process and how you did it, but you guys don't just sit down in the studio and start writing. Like, can you talk about how these new songs kind of come together and take shape?
Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. I think we don't have a singular writing process. We just kind of do whatever's working. What worked maybe 5 years ago didn't really work this time around, because I think we felt like 5 years ago just getting together in a room and playing at all was new, because we had taken a few years off from it. So now that we're back in it, we've jammed hundreds if not thousands of hours since then. So to get back into a room again and try to do it, it was almost like, oh yeah, I remember we've played a riff that sounded exactly like that, or like a lot of it started to kind of sound like rehash of things. So we were able to fall back on like a lot of demos that were already in the works, take those demos and just kind of slice them out and mix them up a little bit and make a record out of it.
Is it really hard though to not rehash? I would think that would be really
man.
tough.
With the same, you're staring at the same instruments that you've stared at your whole life.
Yep.
And it is, and because you fall into a style eventually, we're old enough now, we've been doing it long enough that we have a style about what we do, and to somebody else it's awesome and new, but to us it feels like, oh man, it's just same old me.
You get irritated with what you know what you're gonna do before you do it, and you're not into it.
Yeah, you're bored by it. So
you try to trick yourself into forcing yourself to think a different way, so you have to play something different.
Yep.
Otherwise, you will just play a variation on something you've been playing for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
About the song Aunt Betty. First of all, when people text in and say, man, I love this song, it sounds like a great old Jane's Addiction song, do you take that as a compliment? Do you, where does that kind of rank there? Because I have gotten quite a few people that are like, man, that sounds like a bitchin' Jane's Addiction song.
That one trips me out when I hear that. I mean, I get the Jane's thing just with this band in general because of the vocals. Aunt Betty just seems so just like groove rock.
Doesn't seem to matter what kind of song we make, we still get that reference.
Right. Oh, you do? Okay.
Totally.
But it's fine. Out of all the references that we could get, to get a Jane's Addiction reference, I mean, that's
better
rad.
than getting Daughtry,
I remember growing up being into Jane's Addiction and nobody knew who the hell they were. None of my friends anyway. It just wasn't that, mainstream or something in the 90s. But now it seems like we found all their old fans or something. So that's
exactly.
Cool. Yeah.
Now, I want to ask you a little bit more about Jane's in a second, but that Aunt Betty video, whoa. I tweeted it out. Follow me at Fandango1057 on Twitter a little bit ago. It is fantastic and disturbing and weird, and it's just such a cool video. Was the director, was that all him, or what input do you guys have in that?
No, I mean, that anytime we work with Lance, it starts out as just a small idea, and it just grows from there like a fire, So we had a couple little points that we wanted to hit on, and wheelchairs and possibly cross-dressing, and that was kind of it. We were just like, anything else, just go for it.
As soon as Sean came out of the room in full Aunt Betty get up, we knew the video was gonna be rad.
Yeah, we knew it.
Then the whole day transformed, and it became like, all right, now we're in this other world.
And she took over.
It was good, man. It was real good.
And I mean, dude, you are the star of it.
Oh man,
it's so awesome. Because a couple of times I had to look at it and go, is that him, or is that just really a weird-looking person? I don't know.
It's both.
Yep. I know,
all right.
man.
So, and back to Jane's Addiction a little bit. So, you're playing Uproar this summer.
Yeah.
What an amazing lineup with Alice in Chains and
Yep.
Circa Survive. Isn't Coheed and Cambry on it
They
as well
are,
with
yeah.
Jane's Addiction?
Yep.
Such a great bill. When you are playing, maybe for the first time, with an act like Jane's Addiction or Alice in Chains, maybe somebody that you were fans of back in the day, is there any sort of awkwardness or nervousness when you meet them, or is it just like, we're on the same playing field as these guys? It's nice to meet you. Is it weird at all?
Yeah, it's kind of a mix of that. I mean, it's been a long time since we were sort of deeply affected by these bands. You got to think, if we're 30 something now, and we were listening to those bands when we were 12, 13, 14 years old. So it's like, it seems like it's a slice of our childhood in a way. It's not like we still are listening to that all day long,
Right.
But there definitely is, like, I remember meeting Alice in Chains for the first time. It was definitely like, wow, this is crazy,
Yeah, hanging out backstage, talking to Jerry about warming up vocally. It was like, this is strange, man.
But then a little bit into it, then you're just like, they're a band, you're a band, and you're both doing what you do, and obviously,
For us playing personally, we kind of go into it the same way we do anything. It's a trip when you later on you go and watch those bands. You're like, whoa, we're on tour with these dudes every night, watching these sets. It's pretty cool.
I would think that too. That would have to this is the wrong term necessarily, but help the band kind of self-confidence, bravado a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
This kind of helps legitimize it,
right.
I guess,
totally.
in a
Yeah,
way.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Now, and then my final question for you guys before we let you roll and we play Aunt Betty. I have yet to hear the Tom Petty cover, and I can't wait to hear the Tom Petty cover that's on the deluxe edition of the album. Where did that come from? Because I would have never thought of you guys as being a Tom Petty band.
It's funny, we've historically never really been a cover band. We just never really got around to working up covers, and people ask us to do them all the time now, for extra stuff. And Tom Petty's just been one of those names that we love Tom Petty. We just saw him in New York a couple months ago. I don't know. It just was like an easy one for us.
Super easy. It took no time to do. I mean, a lot of his songs are when we plug them through our stuff, it could sound like something that, it plays really easy and it sounds like us. So it was Need to Know was simple to do. It took no time and it was a lot of fun.
I know he's one of those guys, and everybody says it, but just to read, he is just one of those great, true American songwriters, rock and rollers. Everything the guy touches for the most part is amazing. When Traveling Wilburys come up on my iPod, it's like a great day.
Exactly, yep.
Well, thank you guys so very much for stopping by. I really, really appreciate it. The next time you come in, and I said this earlier, I'm going to make you guys play.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that until it was way, way, way too late. But Zach and Sean, Middle Class Rut, see them tonight over at Pops. The new album, Pick Up Your Head, is in stores now. The lead single from that album is this great song called Aunt Betty. Middle Class Rut, thank you guys very much.
Thanks, man.